welcome to a fresh edition of Wednesday Night Football, the program that brings you all the exciting news from the world of football, regular football, soccer as you know it, and of course American football. My name is Tunde Koiki, your regular anchor. Unfortunately, Bimbo Bankole is not around. Bimbo and I usually talk about a lot of these issues that affect both Nigeria and the global community regarding both soccer and American football, especially American football. Bimbo, of course, you know, is a coach of Lagos Marines, an American football team based here in Lagos, Nigeria. But he's away on a West African tour of 3 West African countries with his team, Lagos Marines. We hear they will be in Togo, Ghana, and the Ivory Coast for a short playing tour before he returns. But instead, in his absence, I have with me someone you regularly never see on Wednesday Night Football. And I'm talking about no other person than Joachim Idada. Joachim, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a while since you and I were together on a TV set. That was many years ago, actually.
Yeah, sure do. It's nice being with you.
Station?
Yes, on that TV station. It's nice being here with you today. And I'm sure we're going to have a great time together.
Absolutely, I'm looking forward to it. We'll be talking football, which I know you have plenty of interesting insights in it. I know it's not chess, it's not chess, it's not darts, but Joachim also has some very entertaining insights into football, as it were. And you know, let's just start on a very, very, very sad note. Cheikh Tiote, 30-year-old midfielder with the Ivorian national team, the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire, and former African champion himself. He passed away last week at the age of 30. Reports from his Chinese Super League club reveal that he died in training. He slumped and died at the age of 30. And it's been absolutely tragic. But unfortunately, as we speak, the club has not been able to provide very clear circumstances regarding his death. We just know that he slumped and died. So today in China, a memorial service was held for him. 2 of his former teammates, Gervinho and another player who are currently playing in the Chinese Super League, attended that funeral, that memorial, which was put together by the Chinese Super League club, and his body will be flown back to Africa, that's Ivory Coast, for burial. And you know, Joachim, I don't know how to say this, but for some reason, this always seems to affect Africans more than most. I mean, the history of football is littered with Africans who have had untimely deaths. The first one that we know of was Samuel Okwaji, who died in 1989, FIFA World Cup qualifier against Angola at the National Stadium in Surulere. There's also Endurance Idaho, Nigerian footballer. There's also Amir Angwe, another Nigerian footballer. There's also Marc Vivien Foe, who died in the FIFA Confederations Cup game in 2003 in France. There was also a Cameroonian footballer who died playing for a Romanian club, a Gabonese footballer who died playing for his own Gabonese club
the
as
list
well.
is endless.
It's endless. And there are also some near misses as well. Our own Kanu Wankwo.
Yes.
Thankfully, he found out his heart problems very quickly, so he had surgery, continued his career. There was also Kalilu Fadiga, former Senegalese footballer as well. There was also Fabrice Mwamba. Whose heart actually stopped for 78 minutes on a
and
pitch,
they were able to
revive him.
Revive him.
So for some reason, this seems to affect Africans more than most.
The first question we should ask ourselves is what's happening? Are we learning our lessons? And that is the problem we have with African sports or with Africans.
Okay.
We refuse to learn our lessons. For those in the West, when an incident occurs, the first level of investigation, or why they conduct the investigation, is not to indict anybody.
No.
But
Why?
the question is the why, so as to
How?
prevent its reoccurrence. When Samuel Okwaji passed, did Africa look at it as what? As the flag that tells us there is need for us to look at quite a number of things that affect our physique, our sportsmen, and all of those stuff. Because we do not see the Caucasians dropping on the pitch as a result of exercise or for all this manner of for sports. We don't hear of it. When you want to play in Europe, the medical regime they pass you through just to determine your medical fitness. If Kanu Wankwo did not move from Ajax to
From Ajax to Inter Milan.
To Inter Milan.
Yeah, was it at Inter Milan that he was found out?
Found out that he was this thing. He will have, who knows what will have happened to him. So the question now remains for me and you is, are we learning our lessons? We are only interested in the dollars. We are only interested in the money. I want to go abroad. Now, he didn't die in Newcastle. He died in China. The next question we say is, what kind of, why didn't it happen in Europe?
Why wasn't it detected in Europe?
It might not have been that it was not detected in Europe. I don't agree. It might be that the regime of training and all of those that he was going through in Europe was not the type of regime he's going through in China.
Well,
and so it's true.
It's debatable, but yes.
It's
I
true because certain circumstances did not occur in Europe that did not trigger the accident or the accident that has happened that he passed. That circumstance.
But players are documented to have died in professional football in Europe.
Fine.
Fabrice Mwamba nearly died. Marc
Vivien
played extensively. Hold on. Marc Vivien played extensively for a French club before he died. So he was playing in European football. The Cameroonian footballer that I mentioned who died in Romania was playing in Europe when he died, although...
No, European, you are saying in Romania.
In Romania.
In Romania.
In Romania is
in
European.
Romania.
Yeah, Romania is European.
In Romania.
Romania is a European country. But interestingly, after that incident, the emergency medical service was severely indicted.
Yes.
There was no defibrillator in that ambulance.
So
all the medication in the ambulance had also expired as well.
No, you are now saying
it's a European culture as far as we're concerned.
That's why you are now saying, you are now agreeing with me that look,
I'm not agreeing with anything.
we must do the right things. We must come back home and begin to ask ourselves certain questions. Example, sickle cell is known more as an African, not a black, a segment that affects the black man. Are there certain circumstances or certain ailments that we blacks
that are
prone to? We are susceptible to this kind of sickness, like malaria.
Breast cancer is also...
Now, even they say breast cancer is pretty more rampant amongst the blacks than amongst the Caucasians. So these kind of things, we need
it might be our physiognomy.
It's our physiology. It's part of it. It's part of it. It's the way we are made of. And because of that, we need to now regulate what we eat so as not to trigger, if I use that word, some of those symptoms or those kind of ailments. And beyond that, we now have to order the kind of exercise, the kind of regime, the kind of things we expose ourselves to. And I don't know what regime of exercise and this thing he went through in China, but with what I know about Chinese, they are very, 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 very...
I'm not saying anything, he said it. But it's interesting that you say that because there's also... I've also spoken to a few cardiologists, a few consultants, and they've also mentioned
hereditary, yes.
That some of these diseases, heart conditions, are also hereditary as well.
So the question is, let me give
you a quick example. There was a Sierra Leonean footballer whose elder brother actually died from heart-related complications. He was also found out while trying out for, I think it was a Swedish club, North Coping, to also have heart conditions.
Yes.
But instead, he moved to the United States of America, where he has continued his career playing for DC United in the MLS.
Yes.
Now he was recently called up by his country, Sierra Leone, for the recent 2019 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. His club absolutely refused to release him unless the Sierra Leonean government could guarantee them that they would have a defibrillator on the pitch. By the pitch side, in case of any incident. And the player himself said, look, he wants to come. That at the end of the day, death comes in different shapes or forms or sizes, and at any time, it is destined that every man will die at one time. It might be from heart-related conditions or from being hit by a plane.
No, that's the problem with we the blacks, especially Africa. Rather than argue intelligently based on knowledge, based on facts and everything, we go into all this regime of sentiment.
His argument is this, that he knows he will die someday.
Why doesn't he go and stand in front of a train? So that's the point.
No, that's suicide.
No. What he's trying to do is that right now, you know the circumstance. And yet you want to expose yourself to that circumstance that might compromise your health and even your life. And even those who are even caring for you, you are telling them that no, your concern is of no value to me as far as I'm concerned. I want to go and play for my country. The point remains that we in Africa must take our health.
About being a martyr. You know, when you die in service of your fatherland, you know, they build a statue in your honor, sing songs about you. There's a disgusted look on your face. I know. But, I mean, it might also cross a lot.
Story.
It might also cross his mind as well.
That is story, big story. The long and short of it is we in Africa must do things properly, and that is what we must take issues relating to health. Not when you are much older and you are from when the child is born, records keeping concerning your health issue documentation is critical. So that when you are going from one health practitioner to the next health practitioner, I remember when I was staying in the States, before you go and see a doctor, they tell you to come 1 hour and they give you something that looks like a brochure and you fill all the information. Does your mom have this? Does your father have this? Family history, so many information, things that ordinarily in Africa we don't worry, and they put all of this in the computer. And why do they do that? It's because there are certain emails that are hereditary. There are certain emails that can come as a result of environment. There are allergies and all of those things. And all of these things are important.
They have your family history, in case of an emergency,
they know what to do.
If they know there's a history of this kind of allergy in your family, they know exactly what to give you.
That you are prone to all of this. And that's the point. I think is it health medicine or something like that? We must take some of this more serious in Africa, and we should not just think always of money. That is the long and short.
Let me just as a final aside on this, what is the role of CAF in this? Some have argued that CAF are complicit.
Yes, I agree.
In the sense that, from the list I've given you, this has preponderant. The evidence shows that more Africans than any other subgroup, be it Asians, be it Europeans, be it South Americans, have suffered from untimely demise from heart-related problems on the pitch. A lot of them have also been affected more, those who didn't die, thankfully the Kanus and the Kalilu Fadigas and the Fabrice Mambas, that a proper federation would have probably commissioned a study into the effects of rigorous sporting endeavor on the African or the African American, in order to ensure that this does not happen. That maybe they should have commissioned this in order to prevent these kind of things from happening in the future.
That is why I raised the question, the why question. Why did this happen? How can we prevent it from happening? You have had a CAF president who has been there for donkey years. Most of the time, as far as I was concerned, he was more asleep than awake in all of his assignments and everything. He was just occupying his seat for the sake of occupying his seat, while other people were busy doing all they were doing. I was very, very surprised in all of this investigation concerning FIFA. His name was not mentioned. Maybe because he was busy, he was asleep most of that time, so he was not involved in all of those rackets. Maybe they extended a little, one step lower. Maybe then they will catch the actual African culprits that were involved in all of those rackets. But the point is, CAF is complicit in this, and there is need for us to begin to ask ourselves this question. Those administering sports, and we say what's their interest? I don't want to use the word what's their interest. The important thing for me
their
is
interest
that
is money.
Yes,
and ensuring that the game runs.
That's all.
So if they do conduct this kind of study, and for instance, God forbid, it shows that more Africans are more prone to death on a field of play, this completely affects the balance of football.
No. It might not stop Africans from playing football. What will happen is the remedy.
Joachim,
you will put in place the remedies.
You're a father now.
Yes.
And a report comes and says that there's a 65% chance that
In
an
America,
African
in America,
might die?
in,
Would you allow your son to play football?
American football that this program is all about.
Yes.
Also, there is also the
issue with concussion.
there's also the issue with concussion on the
Yes.
head. Are you telling me
It
that
doesn't stop the sport,
they've stopped
no.
the
No.
sport? No. The point is
And
because
perhaps
of
ameliorates-
because of the exposure to concussion of the head, this thing, the design, people are already studying the design of the helmet the American footballers are wearing. People are, all the safety gears, they're already working on it and improving it so as to reduce the exposure to that risk. And that is the point. If you do the investigation and there is scientific evidence, proof to show that we Africans, we are exposed to this kind of illness of cardiac-related illness. Right now, surprised if I tell you, if you do, I'm above 50, I'm approaching my mid-50s. Surprisingly, many of my mates who are already 50, all of us are all suffering from some form of health heart challenge. Somehow, I don't know where it came from, and everything. Today, it's so you can now see there's this. Is it a black thing? If it's a black thing, what are the remedies? How is it our diet? If it's our diet, how do we change? Is it our lifestyle? So some of all these studies should have been done. It's not all this money that CAF is getting, and some people. I'm not saying CAF. They are putting it in their pocket, but they are not applying the funds for the good of the game. Because as far as I'm concerned, with this number of people that are dying in any right-thinking country or nation, even the government should be very, very, very concerned to say, hey, football, in this country, we need to really take a second look and at least put, I won't say put on the brakes, but maybe you just tap it a little because we do not want more Nigerians dropping on the field as if they are just a piece of mango falling off the tree.
Typical Joachim related. The analogy is always very colorful. This is the first half of Wednesday Night Football. We'll take another short break. We'll be right back. We'll be talking after the break about the debacle in Oyo, where the Super Eagles of Nigeria contrived to lose to the Bafana of South Africa for the first time in 25 years in a competitive game. Recriminations are plenty, blame being flung left, right, and center. We'll be discussing all that and much more after the break. Stick around. Welcome back. You're still watching Wednesday Night Football. Of course, we always urge you to send in your thoughts, comments, questions, anything you have on your mind regarding everything that we've been discussing on this program, and also anything that is burning, any burning issues that you would like us to see us talk about. And of course, the social media handles are there on your screen. You can always get in touch with us through any of those handles, and we'd be more than happy to hear anything you have to say and also discuss those issues. I'm still here in the studio with Joachim Idada, and it's time for us to talk about what a lot of people have described as a dark day in Nigerian football. For the first time in 25 years, the Bafana of South Africa defeated the Super Eagles of Nigeria in a competitive match. It's not really the fact that they beat Nigeria, that Nigeria was beaten by South Africa that was the issue. It was the way and manner, the ease, the total ruthlessness of the game that actually stunned, shocked, and depressed a lot of people. It could have been more. It could have been as much as 5, or even 6. The South Africans were hit the post twice. They were also guilty of overplaying the ball when they could have been a bit more ruthless and decisive. But the Super Eagles were well and truly beaten by South Africa. And there's plenty of rejoicing in South Africa right now. It has also put Nigeria on the back foot in the race to qualify for the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations, because in the same Group E, Libya annihilated Seychelles by 5-1. So as it stands, it's Libya topping that group, followed by South Africa, Nigeria are 3rd, and Seychelles are 4th. So from the very blast of the whistle in the qualifying series, Nigeria already playing catch-up, Jack. But let me just ask you, let me start by asking you, was this inevitable at some point? Because for so many years, Nigerian public have always dismissed or derided South Africa, say yes, they don't have talent, they are not good footballers, they have organization and they have money. And maybe we've always, maybe the sports media have been guilty of perpetuating this myth. Because for the past 3 times, the last 2 times that Nigeria actually faced South Africa before this, we couldn't beat them, home or away. So they were getting closer.
We've been living a lie.
How so?
That is the truth. First of all, let me explain, for those who care to understand what is sports. Sport has gone beyond this whole idea of its talent. Sports has become a science, almost all sports. And people should understand that when it comes to sport, it takes almost 20 years, close to 20 years, to raise a world beater in any sport. Any sport, talk less of football. In the last 20 years, what have we been doing in our football? If we do a critical analysis of our activities in the last 20 years, we've been doing virtually nothing. Coincidentally, we've been winning. And we've used this strategy, what I call the mercenary strategy. Just go and pick some players from abroad, provided either your father is a Nigerian, or you have a Nigerian connection somehow. Just come.
Even if you have a Nigerian girlfriend at times,
who knows? Just come and play, and that has fetched us some victories. But right now, that match on Saturday, sincerely, I knew it was going to happen. I told quite a number of people that it was going to happen, that they were going to beat us, and they said at first they described me as being unpatriotic. 2, they said this is not darts, this is not my butt game, this is football, that I'm not a football lover, so I should.
Quick question: all those people who are saying this, did they have the good grace to call you back and apologize?
None of them.
Typically,
none of them.
I'm happy for you that I'm happy that you actually didn't watch that game, because reports also reaching us that a retired soldier who watched that game actually slumped and died.
Yes.
After that game, he passed away from pure depression watching the Super Eagles put up such an abject and shambolic performance. But the recriminations of what happened on the pitch.
Okay, let us begin to analyze the game.
Yes. Before we even get to that, there was also some major administrative drama.
Okay.
Before that game even happened at all. The Super Eagles, the Nigeria Football Federation, we hear at the pre-match meeting, were told that the balls that they provided for the game were substandard and inadequate because they were 2016 balls. CAF had approved 2017 balls for CAF competitions. The NFF didn't have those. So what they did was to beg the South Africans to lend them their balls.
Okay.
And that's why every time you watch, they did a close-up of the ball.
No, beyond,
you see RSA, Republic of South Africa, reading in red felt pen on the balls, so that I distinguish them from the balls the NFF provided, which, in my opinion, was shocking. This is June.
It's June.
20, say half of the year is gone, and the NFF still do not have.
It tells you. It calls to question what kind of balls were they using to train and to practice prior to this event?
2016 balls.
2016 balls. Were they lighter?
Surely, no, sorry, I know where you're going. Surely you can't blame the balls for the Super Eagles loss.
It is not balls. No, you're not. You see.
No, I hope that's what you're trying to do.
You see, that's why I told people that people like us that are more into brain sports, the way we analyze things are far different from the way other people analyze things. We analyze things from a position of what I call them components. Component parts that leads to success. If we analyze all the component parts that leads to success, there was no way we would have won that match. The only thing that we had to our favor is that we had human beings. Outside that, you mentioned the balls. First of all,
surprisingly, it didn't even rain in Uyo, considering the fact that
we're in Nigeria. No, we're in Nigeria. Don't worry. Let us not go down. We're in Nigeria. You understand? I cannot say.
You paid rain doctors.
I don't know.
I don't
know whether they did that. Maybe it would have been better the rain scheme.
Okay, so we have something to blame.
Yes, maybe it would have helped us. But you see, first of all, 2, let us look at it from this angle first. People should realize that football is a team sport. Football is not an individual. It's not chess. It's not darts. It's not pool. It's not snooker. It's not athletics. It's not 100 meters. Even relay is a team distance. So if you are the fastest runner in relay, you can't run past the person you're going to pass your baton to. So it's a team sport. From the clip of the highlight I saw, that team connection was totally out of it. It was clear that what was obvious that we just brought a bunch of strangers, play for different clubs, who have practiced a couple of matches.
Now, hold on. These same players have actually been going on a 9-match unbeaten run under the coach. They've been doing pretty well.
See, the question is, they've been doing, your underbelly has been shown. Misovic, one of the greatest chess teachers, taught us that you learn more from a loss than from a victory. When you win, you tend to take things for granted without looking at where were your mistakes. When you lose, especially in chess, you do not sleep because it haunts you like a demon.
Oh, you think it doesn't haunt you in football?
I don't know.
It does, trust me. I'm telling you it does.
You begin to wonder. So you see, because we have had 9 victories, all this while, and draws, no loss, we never took time to look at it again and say, come, which areas did we do our mistakes? How can we plug it and how can we correct it? So now, those who have been watching those matches and watching those tapes, they have seen. I think the last goal, they showed it in the highlight.
It was absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking.
Even a high school
was supposed to be a dead ball.
Yes.
The entire Nigerian team, except the goalkeeper, was in the South African half. One pass from the South Africans freed the striker Percy Tau, rounded the goalkeeper with ease and scored. It was the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen happen to a Nigerian team. Apart from Yakuba Ibini's miss at the 2010 FIFA World Cup against South Korea.
Yes. So now I ask you a question. These people are the people you describe as professional. That's basic. That's basic football. They don't teach. Look, I don't understand. Do they expect the coach Raw to teach them that? I don't understand.
But Raw was on the sidelines and watching all this, he did nothing to counter it. A quick shout from Raw that just have someone stay on the halfway line and just prevent this. Could have changed that. But let's talk about Raw's tactics himself. A lot of people have absolutely lampooned him that, look, you got this one wrong. The way you set up the team was absolutely wrong. There's also questions regarding the quality of the personnel picked on the day. There's also talk regarding the tactics that was used to face the South Africans, a team that everybody knew was going to come and defend and play on the counter, which they did with aplomb. Apart from that, the passing of the Super Eagles was awful.
Terrible, and everything.
In 90 minutes, they did not have one shot on goal. All their free kicks and corner kicks were completely wasted. Never put the goalkeeper under pressure. It was just
let's look at the name of our national team is not national team. The name of our national team is the Super Eagles. Why did they describe our national team as the Eagles, first of all? Talk less of Super Eagles. No. From Nigeria, our style of football in Nigeria is wing play. We play from the wings. That is our traditional style. If you go to history, days of Fadatico and Otto Gloria, all of them.
History evolves.
You improve. Look, you don't change your style. The Spanish, that's what brought success to the Spanish football. You develop your own style,
which has been counted by a lot of people, which is why they're no longer world champions. Styles evolve.
Style evolve. That what you do is what? When you are evolving your style, you keep your strength, the weakness of your style, you replace with something that can be more compatible with your opponent that you are going to play. In this particular match, remember the days of our great mathematical Shego Degbami, Finidi George, Yishaf Shofolue, all of them. How strong we were from the wings. We break in from the wings. We cross the ball straight into the 18. You have someone like Rashidi Yakini there,
so what happens
tall and strong. He slams the ball into the game.
What happens if you come up against a team that completely knows how to shut down wing play? What do you do then?
That is why you have an intelligent, your players should be well schooled in the whole art or tactics of football. If someone shuts your match for weak play, what you do automatically is you begin to use long balls. Alternatives, long balls like the British. You see now, you begin to use long balls. You begin to play over the defense.
And long balls are also easily defended against.
Yes.
If you have good defenders who can clear.
So what you automatically do, most people, you keep on changing the style, but your fundamental style remains any day. You remain any day. What you just saw the South African did was clear. They have studied our matches, and because they have studied our matches, they simply went there and shut down Iheanacho. Iheanacho was not in the pitch. Shut down everything. Iheanacho was not in the pitch.
Probably shut down the ATM machines.
Machines that were there, and they went there and executed their plan, plain and simple. 2, we took them for granted.
Yes, we did.
We didn't study them. No, we didn't check them out. Nothing. This is a team we just looked at.
The South Africans had not lost in the past 17 games. Had not lost in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
So it was a team that was really high on confidence and really knew how to go about it.
So that's what I'm telling you, that you don't just wake in 3 months and put some people together and think you go and beat a team that over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years have been practicing, have been working on their style, that's it, and they know what they are doing. And not only their national team, their whole football structure, their club size.
Look at Mamelodi Sundowns, are the defending champions of the CAF Champions League, won it in style last season, also played at the FIFA Cup.
So these are all the things that you put in place. That's why I told you, those are the pieces that helps you sit with confidence and believe that your national team will deliver. How do we have a national? How many local players played in that match? None. And we have an MPFL. So what do you think the MPFL is? Is it a nursery school of jokers or what?
It's a nursery to groom players for export abroad.
For export abroad. So these are the questions we should ask ourselves. So those are the things that surfaced on Saturday. And that was how people like us went to bed. Just went to sleep because we just knew that we wake up the next day and we'll get the good news and we'll rejoice in South Africa that they've done their homework and they've delivered.
Okay, finally on this topic now, is this a disaster for Nigerian football?
For me, it's a clarion call for those who are administering sports in Nigeria to take sports more serious. That it is not just a time for us to just throw money around and put money in the pocket. We should understand that sports is business, and if we are going to benefit, whether in bragging rights or economically from sports, then we must do the right thing. We must put round pegs in round holes, square pegs in square holes, and that's all.
Okay. I think Joachim Idada has put it very succinctly and saying that we must take greater care regarding sports administration, putting round pegs in round holes, people who truly have an understanding and a passion for the game in order to ensure that the calamity in Uyo, where Nigeria's Super Eagles were utterly disgraced, does not happen again. But some also argue that, look, it's not a big deal, that all across Africa, a lot of teams were shocked as well. I mean, for example, the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire, former African champions, lost at home to Guinea by 3-2. The Chipolopolo of Zambia, former African champions, lost by a lone goal at home to Mozambique. So losing to South Africa is no big deal. I don't know what side of the divide that you sit on. The first time that England have won a FIFA competition since in 51 years.
Yes, in 51 years.
The last time was in 1966.
They did it in a very, very strange way.
Yeah, exactly. There were no less than 7 players of Nigerian heritage in that team. So it's a victory for Nigeria as well.
If you want to describe that, it shows that.
I'm saying that because in a few years' time now, you can ask these players that, if you are not going to play for England, you can play for Nigeria.
It shows that, okay, our loss is England's gain.
How so? I mean, these players were born there.
It shows that it's either that football is nature to us. And so, unfortunately for us here in Nigeria, we are just using raw skills and taking it to the pitch. Now, what the British, just like the Kenyans or the people from East Africa, running the distance, is nature to them.
Yes.
They chase after cheetahs, run after antelopes, barefooted without shooting them, and they don't use guns, they use arrows, so you can imagine. and they kill their prey, and so it's natural to them to run those long distance. And you know what has happened when what's the name of that Farah? Mo Farah in England. Is running.
Originally from Somalia.
Original from, so you see, they are not very silly when they do all these things. So now England is benefiting from what is nature to us, what is natural to us, and they are benefiting. They've got a national team. So before you understand, they're already putting their eye on grooming world beaters at the FIFA World Cup in the next 4 or 8 years. You see them. And that is also a pointer to them that there is need for them to look at how will they poach more Nigerian people of Nigerian descent. How can they poach us, bring us, whether naturalize them, offer them certain incentives to come there with the opportunity that, who knows, it's business, you remember, and that's the long and short of it.
It's interesting.
Sports will bring it, those boys will bring a lot of money for them. Unfortunately, we've not learned our lesson. Congratulations to is it England, Nigeria, England? I don't know, but congratulations to those boys, whether we like it or not, whether you accept you're a Nigerian or you are not a Nigerian, as far as we are concerned, once you have our blood, call yourself you're from any nationality, we recognize you as our son. So we say congratulations to you for the success you people recorded.
Not only do they have our blood, they also have our name. So I mean, the MVP of the tournament who won the Golden Ball, Dominic Sholanke, is original, well, has Nigerian heritage. So I don't know what you want to say about that, but congratulations as well, once again, to England. That's our show, Wednesday Night Football. It has been. My name is Tunde Koiki. Once again, thanks to Joachim Idada for stepping into the breach, for being Bob Bankole.
My pleasure.
And thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.